What's up, everyone? Welcome to the latest episode of Power Spike. It is just a couple days after recording the last one, but we're on schedule, we're on time, and we got you covered here in the world of League of Legends. dGon alongside Jamada and Dom to break things down. It is a little bit lighter. It's been 4 days since the last time we recorded, so not a ton there, but still kind of a ton there. We've got our the drama, the criticisms that happened over last week across multiple different things. We have a keeper kick, including DSG finally getting their first franchise win in a tier 1 best of series, and more LEC. Poby leading the charge, leading the lost sheep of Fnatic to victory. Very, very interesting stuff here. Let's start off with just a couple of comments from our last week's episode. Can we get Dom to make a tier list of things that piss him off? Piglet, double if takes, Fnatic roster decisions, T1 fan takes / Joe Marsh, or top esports international performances. So that's a pretty good list of 5.
That's a content idea, honestly.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. I'll think about it.
Yeah, take the time there. That was from last week. That was last week's top comment. Let's see, what else did we have here? There was one more that was pretty good that I thought we would dive into. No, we'll leave it there for now. So thank you all for watching and commenting. We appreciate it. Continue to drop home some of those big comments. What did your weekend look like here, Jamada?
Being a content creator, weirdly, I'm making videos now, so that's been what the push is. A lot of the games this weekend were kind of stinky, so I had them on the side, and I was mostly just kind of grinding away at that stuff. So yeah, very chill. It's only been 4 days, right? Like you said on the intro. So very relaxed.
Yeah. How about you, Dom?
I haven't been doing too much. I mean, obviously, been doing the co-streams as always. We had our match versus TL. And yeah, now we're just preparing for playoffs.
Boom. You did a lot of the co-streams for the LTA, and I watched which one did I watch? The Shopify and 100 Thieves one. That was some classic LCS right there, baby. And that's actually where we're going to start with high key, low key, no key with this week's Flames. We had Palafaker caster criticism for how good he's been playing recently. We had KC's Vladi clapping back at the fan group, the ultras of KC, that's actually a little scary. Speaking of scary, third, we had the T1 support gal sending Gumayushi wreaths over at T1 HQ. And the number 4, which is probably also pretty scary and actually going to do something about it, but mad respect, the Riot developer Drew Levin just destroying smurfs and smurfing and bot accounts and going to Twitter and taking it to the streets of Twitter to people that were replying back to him. So we're going to go through all of this flame as high key, low key, no key. Which one resonated with you the most? Let's get into it. All right, let's start with the Palafaker one because 100 Thieves did play Shopify right afterwards. If you missed it, there was an interview with Palafox saying the casters' criticism has been unfair. They just shit talk him. They're not being equal in terms of the success that he had or contextualizing some of the things that are happening, like RA Charm's missing, but it's leading towards flashes. And cool. Noted, heard. Caster criticism is a normal thing. I do think that Palafox has been under a lot of criticism lately. Most of it deserved, but he has been under a lot of criticism lately. And then, Dom, since you watched that specific game on the co-stream live, how do you feel like he fared in his performance against the criticism?
I mean, I think he had a pretty good game too. His game 3 was like fine. His game one was bad, but I just feel like he's not consistent enough where people are going to like really respect him as a player. Like he's not. I think right now, like when I'm being honest, if I look at all the players in the league, I do think he's been like bottom 3, at best bottom 4 in the role. Like I do think that generally the Koreans are better. Like the LCKCL mid laners that we've had in NA have been better. APA has fallen off a bit, so maybe you don't throw APA in there over him, but I think APA in general, like if you were to take both of their years up until this point, I think APA's year has been better considering he like won first stand and he was still looking good back in winter. So to me it just seemed like kind of a strange time to say this because it doesn't feel like he's been playing that well. And to me, I feel like it was actually the opposite most of the time. Like he was overly glazed last year specifically. It felt like because of the fact that they won in 2023, NRG got a big pass where people were like waiting for them to be good. It's like, oh shit, like they're not doing that well, but in playoffs they might get it together when they were clearly just not a good team at that period of time. So it was a little strange to me because I feel like he's actually gotten hyped up more by the casters than, for example, like I would hype him up. Like I don't think Palafox is a very good player, and I think that in general, if you contextualize his entire career, he's been towards the bottom of the LCS more than being like in the top or like the middle. If you go back to his days when he was on FlyQuest, and then when he was playing in early CLG, like this guy didn't have success in a lot of periods, and I don't think that he was individually like playing super well. So it was confusing to me because I mean he says that like I watched what he ended up saying. He thinks that a lot of the casters are just stupid about the game. Like he said this in the pros episode that came out yesterday. Thinks that a lot of like the casters are just like dumb about the game. They just like don't know what's actually going on. But I think I do know what's going on, and I can literally like point out exactly why I think he's misplaying different situations and things that he does consistently wrong throughout games. And I just don't see what he's doing that's really good that's compensating for that on a normal basis. I also think that there's like champion pool issues there. I don't think he's as good at playing like the entire breadth of mid lane champions the way that the other players are. Like he looks like he kind of needs to be on something that's a playmaker most of the time. Annie, Yone, like sometimes he can play Victor in a really easy spot, but like Annie, Yone, Ari, these types of picks seem way better for him than when he tries to play like standard mages, Orianna, Azir, these types of picks. So I don't know. I don't know how casters should be flamed for like being overly critical. I feel like a lot of times casters are almost not critical enough when I watch them. So it didn't really make that much sense to me.
Jamada.
Kind of just weird, unwarranted. I don't want to say head loss because it's not like he went on like a massive tirade, right? But I think as a player in those kind of positions, if you think that you're hearing a narrative on a broadcast that you don't like, and I think Dom will also be able to speak to this as an ex-player, if you hear a narrative you don't like, play to beat the narrative. Like I wouldn't even in that position, I wouldn't even comment on the narrative, even if it was as stupid as he thinks. I'm getting overflamed. Much like Dom was saying, I also feel like Palafox has, for the last couple of years, not really since 2023, not really been top end mid, and I think that's very fair to say. And in my opinion, casters, yes, sometimes we definitely do get things wrong, but I think there's been a lot of defense of Palafox whenever I tune in to the LTA too. So I just found the whole thing a little bit strange, frankly, because I would make a pretty strong case for a lot of the LTA guys kind of covering and hyping Palafox because he has had a lot of that 2023 split covering some of his more poor stretches of form, shall we say. Also, just on a side note, I think more than any other group of, I'll at least say analysts out of the major 3 English-speaking broadcasts, because rest in peace the LPL as an official product anyway. The LTA analysts are really surf. Like almost all of them have history in either esports or coaching. Is there an ex-player on that lineup? I don't think there is there off the top of my head. I guess Kobe. Kobe used to play all the way back in like season 2 or something like that, right?
Literal world champion is
all one.
And wow.
And then obviously, yeah. So this is maybe the worst selection of of a talent team to be like, yeah, these guys don't know what they're fucking talking about when it comes to the game. No, these guys are probably the most qualified by experience in the world of leagues. So yeah, I kind of I read a lot of the questions surrounding that part, and I couldn't really buy in. And again, I think when you're in the positions where you're under scrutiny, play to beat that narrative. Otherwise, if you to me now, the worst thing that could possibly happen to him is he's acknowledged the air quotes like, the casters are flaming me thing. He's made it half a thing because of the way that he's responded and kind of brought it up. If he just shits the bed now for a majority of the remainder of the year, I think it just looks worse on him. Now, it's a double-edged sword, because at the end of the day, if now Shopify, and specifically him, let's say they have a fantastic stretch and they go to Worlds and have a okay-ish performance, at that point you've beaten the narrative. But now I think he's actually put more pressure on himself by, again, I wouldn't quite call it head loss, but whenever you are under a magnifying glass and you go, yeah, I hate the way that I'm being spoken about on this, that, and then you don't have the performance to then go and back up what you're saying, you're validating the thing that you're trying to invalidate in the first place. So, I thought the whole thing was quite silly, given the position that he's in, because I don't think Palafox is individually the strongest player, and I don't think he's been individually the strongest player in mid for a long time. His strongest positions are in facilitating roles, as opposed to like outright, like I am the carry, I'm on Azir, I'm on Victor, or any of these other mages, like Dom was alluding to.
Yeah, like I think that you're just giving him the ammo to continue with that narrative. If that's the way that you feel, you need to be pretty clear, because the way that I describe Palafox is kind of like KT. It's high ceiling, low floor. Like, you've had Worlds beater Palafox, and you've had, like, I don't know if he's going to make it out of Academy Palafox kind of guy.
I mean, I don't even know if he's high ceiling, to be honest. Like, I don't view him as having the potential ceiling that the other players have. Like, if I were to say who are the highest ceiling players in the LTA, I think Saint has a higher ceiling. I think most of the players have a higher ceiling. Like, I think that APA has a higher ceiling than him. I think Loki has a higher ceiling than him. Quad has a higher ceiling than him. So I don't even consider him like even a super high ceiling player. Like, I don't know. It's very strange to me. Just hearing like that obviously I know that it probably doesn't feel good to be flamed all the time, but I mean, he just simply just doesn't play that well in the majority of the games. And then he was talking about how like he had a game where he was up against us, where he was like 2 levels up on Loki in playoffs. And it's like, yeah, that's the problem. It's like when you're 2 levels up on Orianna, you like don't put pressure on the game or like win the game. You're 2 levels up as Orianna versus Talia, and it just you don't feel the pressure. It's not like, oh man, now this fucking Talia is winning the game or like doing a lot like to make its presence felt. It's just like, oh, I mean, this Orianna is whatever, it is what it is, and you just can exist through it. So yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like it doesn't make sense for Palafox to be talking about that type of stuff right now, but who knows? I guess we'll see.
Well, this is an interesting topic. Who's had a better career, APA or Palafox?
I mean, I'd say APA for sure. I mean, APA has won 2 titles. He has more titles than him.
He has more
and
titles.
Has been to international competition more in a shorter period of time. Like,
yeah,
I think it's very clear that APA's trajectory is going to be further. But like right now,
I don't think you can out longevity a peak. Like, I think that his peak has been comparable, if not better, and he's done it for a way longer period of time. Palafox has had one, and it wasn't even like he had a great split in 2023 summer. I think that's something that people have kind of like said, but it's really like that team came out of nowhere, right? Like, everyone who was watching that split thought that the winners of the split were going to beat Cloud9. People thought Cloud9 was just going to win again, and everyone was really surprised that it ended up not being the case. They're like, what the fuck? Wait, really? Like, Cloud9 lost to NRG? Like, NRG was even team. They're like 50% win rate, and then in playoffs they got it together and won, which was impressive, but that's different than like For example, when APA was looking really good throughout most of the split in summer last year, and they didn't end up winning, right? In 2024 summer, APA was doing really well. He was like side laning better than other people on Corki, Tristana. Like he could play these AD mid laners really well. He was getting like leads all over the place. In spring, you know, he had that Aurelian Soul phase where he was kind of dominating the league. Like I hold that stuff in higher regard. So yeah, I'm just not with Palafox on this one.
All right. Well, that was one of them. Next up, we had the KC fans. We'll rank it at the end. We'll high key, low key, no key, everything at the end. KC fans getting clapped at by their mid laner, Vladi. He had 2 messages that since then I can't find on Reddit anymore. Basically,
because they deleted them.
I play for KC, but these fans not praising them. Here it is. I'm playing for KC, but the majority of the fan base by this org is by far the worst I've seen. Guys, can you stop the glazing? I appreciate it, but I don't care afterwards. So he's made his stance known based off of not the positives of the fan base, but the negatives of the fan base. This is a player talking back to the fans, something that we don't really see too often. T1 really hasn't done that too much, or ever, I guess, from what I can remember off the top of my head. How does this resonate with you here, Jamada?
I've dealt with the good and the bad side of the KC fan base myself.
Wait, you've dealt with the good side?
I have dealt.
Like?
It does exist. It does exist, and honestly, it's fun.
Okay.
Like, I think it's much like, I will say, it definitely feels a little bit rare. For context, the good side was about 3 years ago, so it was before KC like over the top exploded.
Okay.
But they were still huge. Like, I don't think they were still the largest fan base in the ERLs even back then. And this was when the NLC was actually a strong region in the ERLs. So me being on that broadcast team, I bantered with the fans a lot because I felt it was just a nice way to get a little bit of rapport and connection going. Because at the time, there actually was a small English broadcast for the LFL as well. So interacted with them. There is a good side, but fuck me, the bad side, when you piss those guys off, it's like it never stops, right? And then you put yourself in the position of Vladi's shoes, where you're playing for the org, and you constantly, anytime, like, could you imagine you open your phone or you open Twitter, and every time you go on Twitter, your feed is just constant French people. Now, first off, as a Brit, that scares me. Second off, imagine their jokes, obviously, regional banner. It's just like constant critique and flame of every little small detail that you do. Like, that's gonna get to you eventually. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. Consuming that content, everyone has a breaking point. For some people, it's like all the way up here. For others, it's down here. For the video watchers, and I think Vladi clearly just got to a point where he seemed to be very, very displeased. And I think the other thing as well is interacting with the French community, or specifically the KC community, the ultras. I'll kind of single out the ultras specifically. These guys, it's very akin to the T1 fans, which we'll get to kind of soon as well, where they don't really see much reason beyond what they think should be happening. Like, whatever their idea of correct is the only idea of correct a lot of the time. And a majority of the time, that does not match with reality. So if you're in a team setting, you're in a competitive setting, and you think you're doing the correct thing, or you know because of what you're going through inside of the team internally that you're making steps and strides for progress, the outside community doesn't see that part. All they see is whatever the fuck you put out on stage. And obviously, there'll be times where your performance on stage doesn't match expectations, and that's one thing. But then you have to deal with this onslaught of specifically the KC fans, because they are very, very rabid, and especially the ultras. There's nothing that Vladi said that isn't kind of just true, because we've all dealt with it. Like, if you're a forward facing person who interacts with the EMEA scene, at one point or another, you've probably interacted with KC fans on social media, and you know what they can be like if you've put out a point which is against their perspective. A lot of the time, they just go straight to just attacking you instead of whatever it is you're saying. So, yeah, frankly, I think Vladi is right. I think Kameto put out a tweet last night saying that he did end up speaking with Vladi, and I think the end result is basically he's just going to stay off social media and focus on this.
Okay, Dom and I had the same face. We had the same face. I had to triple check Dom. I was like, what?
But like, I don't think that solves the like.
That's insane. That's like the conclusion. Like, is that actually what he said? He's like, yeah, this guy called you guys like all cancer, and then I would have double checked. I was looking for Vladi's comments on that, and then I actually came across Kameto's tweet. And that was what he said. They recommended that he steps away from social media and focuses on the end of the split. So it's one of those things where he doesn't even okay, so
he doesn't really fully acknowledge the flame.
Oh, so he's on the side of the fan base, right? Holy fuck, this is a crazy tweet. I called Vladi earlier and we were able to talk about what happened yesterday. He reacted in the heat of the moment because of the messages in his Twitch chat, but he's aware of all the positive messages he's received in the past and the support he gets from the fan base, and he wanted to apologize for expressing himself clumsily. Wait, did he apologize? Or did Kameto just say, okay,
I think Kameto is apologizing on his behalf, because I personally, unless it's on Vladi's Twitter, which I will look at right now, I don't think he did.
Yeah, there's a lot of times where I've had to apologize for Dom as well. And they're like, Dom didn't really mean that,
What the fuck, bro? This is actually so crazy. So I mean, this is what breeds the fucking fan base being so mentally ill with comments like this. It's like, it's not like, hey, like, maybe Vladi went a little too far, but you guys need to fucking stay in line. You guys are being fucking crazy recently. Like, there's nothing like that. It's always just like, yeah, this was Vladi's fault. This is Vladi's bad here. There's no truth in what he said. There's no like, hey, this fan base is pretty fucking cancerous a lot of the time. I mean, look at posts like the one that I referenced was the creative tier list, the creativity tier list that LEC did, where you just have a bunch of like French fans underneath just complaining.
They didn't understand the context.
It's like, how is Kana not number one on every tier list of top laners in every aspect of top lane? It's like, come on, guys. And they're just like, all just fucking flaming in French. And then I posted that there was a lot of people that failed a reading comprehension test. And the French fans, look, this might be them admitting some fault here. The French fans got really mad at me when I was like, hey, there's some people that failed reading comprehension. I said, I appreciate that LEC posted a public IQ/reading comprehension test on their Twitter. And then the French fans just started going crazy on me. They're like, fuck you, Dom, you piece of shit. You flame KC fans every time you got to. I'm like, hey, bro, I didn't say that you guys were the ones failing it. But based on this comment section, looks like that might actually be the case. So I don't know, man. Like, every time I see this, it's just ridiculous. KC fans are just this whole fan base type of thing that we've done to try to keep League alive with the KC fans and the MKOI fans, the T1 fans. Bro, if this is what we need it to be in order to survive, just let the shit fucking die. Just let the shit die. Let's go fucking have different jobs.
No. Like, I would push and challenge that though, because how different is it really from traditional sports, right? Like, I think we'd be lying to ourselves if we said that this kind of culture doesn't exist in traditional sport.
It's different. It's way different. Players are less accessible, and it feels like the PR team, the ownership would come out and speak against it, or at least acknowledge like, hey, this thing exists, but like, don't let it spill over. Like, there would be some sort of mediation.
Yeah. These fan bases seem so much more sensitive than professional sports. Like, they're like so like high strung and sensitive, and it's to like such a ridiculous level, like, I mean, I'm on social media, I'm on like NBA Twitter and stuff, and normally it's kind of like, it's a more like bantery, like people will throw shit at each other, but it's not as much as like, oh, I think KC could have done this better, and then instantly you get a fucking death threat like that. It's not that from what I've seen, at least not the public death threats. Maybe I'm not looking at in the right places, but it seems like it's more like lighthearted joking on like NBA Twitter and stuff than like if you say something anti-KC and people are just losing their fucking minds,
I mean, for me, maybe it's a different experience, like the American sports versus European sports. I feel like European sports fan culture is not super far off from this, minus basically the sensitivity. I think the obvious thing, dGon, I think you hit on it perfectly, is the parasocial like aspects of the accessibility to the players, for one. But then two, yeah, I mean, I'll just point towards the figureheads of these, organizations, where obviously for KC it's Kameto, in situations even like you could point to LR, right? In situations where sometimes Dotratonis fan base has been a little bit dodgy. At the very least, Kadra has come out at times and been pretty stern about like behavior inside of the community when it comes to interacting with other communities, because inside the community sometimes, I mean, we've seen what happens with the rats, but it's about those forward facing people actually trying to hold their fan bases accountable. I think when it comes to like, at the very top end you have T1. I think it's pretty impossible to do with T1 now at this point because they are just too big. But I feel like with organizations like KC, MKOI, LR, these are orgs of fan bases which are at a size where I would expect, a GM or the face of those, communities, organizations to be able to come out and say, like, yo, you guys, I've seen what's happening, or we've seen what's happening. Step off, like, please, like, stop it, relax, or XYZ thing, whatever it's going to be. If we see you doing this, we're going to stop you from being a part of these communities, etc., etc. It feels like it never really happens with KC, and I think that's kind of the big boil over point for people inside of that environment. In the case here, it's obviously Vladi. So yeah, that's why to me, I think. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, these fan bases. No, finish your point. Finish your point.
Yeah, finish your point, and then let me go to the next one, and then Dom, I'm pretty sure you can wrap it up after that.
Yeah, so that's why to me, I sympathize a lot with Vladi, because it's got to be a fucking nightmare. Basically, anytime you do anything social media, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Twitch, just because you're going to be dealing with this constantly, and it feels like no one in the KC structure is checking. And realistically, the only person that could is Kameto. And I know their fans will say, "Oh, it's only a few people that do it." And Kameto he comes out and he always says, I have told the fans not to. It's not enough. You need to have a hard line. So we covered this at the start of the year, actually, because there was something that KC did as well. I remember I'm basically parroting a point I made in like fucking February.
Yep.
But
it was
take
a hard line stand. It was the fans that were messing with my lovely, amazing LCK staff. They are just great human beings.
Yes.
And they started arguing with the staff, and I got Omega tilted.
In the position of someone, like, you have to take a hardline stance. You can't pussyfoot around it. And I'm yet to see a hardline stance ever come out of Kameto on the behavior of the fans.
These fan bases are just cults. Like that, it just is what it is. These fan bases are literally cults. It's just like anything that is like if you're against, it's us versus them. That's the mentality that they just champion within all of these fan bases. It's us versus the rest of the world. Like, we're the ones that are oppressed. They somehow simultaneously are like the massive bullies in the community, but they have this victim complex tied into it that makes it so fucking awkward to like deal with them, because they're being fed by the people that are like the higher ups, that they're the ones that are being like, that things are unfair for like KC fans, or like we're getting screwed because of this and that and whatever. And then they're going out and just losing their mind on other people all the fucking time. And it does feel like at this point, it's like, what is KC? Okay, anything that's French is good. Anything that's not French is shit. And that's like the entire like ideas of the fan base. Okay, what about MKOI? Okay, everything Spanish is good. Everything not Spanish is shit. Okay, cool. To me, it's just so fucking awkward to deal with this type of stuff, because like, as an American, it's fucking weird. Because it's like, I don't have anything intrinsically where when I see like Trump say some shit, I don't feel like, man, I really have to agree with that because he's an American and I'm an American. Like, there's none of this like national this like, oh man, I have to agree with this person because we were born in the same fucking, we were born in relatively the same fucking area of the world. Like now we have to have like the same opinions and whatever, and we have to hype other people up. Like it's very strange for me to see the level that they go to defend things that don't even make fucking sense, you know?
Yeah.
Like I just don't feel that. I just don't feel that. And I don't know how that could be when there's so many different people. How could 80 million people or whatever, what's the population of France? Like 60 million, 80 million, something like this. How could everyone share the same opinions and have the same stances on everything all the time? Like, how could that even be the case? So, like, how do we end up in a situation where if it's like anything French is good, everything that's not French is shit? It just seems like, I don't know, fucking strange that's like accepted so much, I guess, to me. Like, I don't know. It feels really bad to see that in the community. And then the other part of it is that when the leaders of these, groups of these fan bases, like the leaders of them are like afraid of their own fan base, and they make the fan base, it's like a dog whistle. You look at that Kameto post, it's like a dog whistle that what they were doing was acceptable, It's like, we talked with Vladi, Vladi was frustrated. This was a him problem. It's not talking at all about what the actual problems within the fan base are. It's like, bro, sending all these fucking messages to everyone all the time, even if they're not death threats, there's like a very extreme nature to how people are treated if you're not in the KC fan base. I mean, look at what happened with Kadril last year, where he talked about the KCX thing with Faker. It's like, wow, they're booing T1. Like, these people like should not be, like, KC shouldn't go to these events. And you look at the response that he got, you look at the response that everyone gets whenever anything is anti-KC or anything is anti-MKOI, and how scared people are to talk negatively about these fan bases within the industry. It's just fucked. Like, it is just really fucked, in my opinion.
Which is kind of, a lot of this could have been the same conversation here as we get to topic 3, which was the T1 support gal, which is different than T1 gal, which is different than T1 fans. Or I guess part of the T1 fandom in a skewed way. Sent support wreaths to T1 headquarters for Gumayushi, usually the ones after funerals, after the Gen G game. I only wanted to bring this one up along with the KC one because I think the way that we handle it, and hopefully that normal fans handle this, is ridicule. We just ridicule it and be specific to who you're ridiculing. So if some loser is spending, I don't know, hundreds of dollars on that and on trucks, and they don't spell things right, it doesn't make sense, we should make fun of them. Like, that is a great waste of your money, waste of your time. What an absolute chud you are for thinking this is going to change anything or do anything or anything positive, right? And if you're thinking, well, I'm going to inflict my emotion, my negative emotion, my negative feelings that was inflicted upon me because this team lost or this player made a mistake, I think it's time to take a look at a mirror and kind of reevaluate your life and where you are and what your priorities are. And if you think, oh, well, they're making fun of me for spending my money, but I got a lot of money, whatever. Again, take a look at the mirror and reevaluate your life. Support the team, live with the team, die with the team, all that good stuff. But like, don't send death threats and these types of things to the people you are theoretically supporting. That's not helpful for anyone other than yourself. And it's a selfish move. And we should criticize and ridicule these types of fandoms because it's not
way ahead of you, dGon. Way ahead of you. Don't worry. I've been ridiculing them for years at this point. But also, I would say it's on the orgs to make it very clear that these people are not supporters of their org if they're acting like this.
Correct.
Like, I think that this is a big thing that happens with a lot of these fan bases. Same thing with T1. It's like, I would like to see them stand against these people publicly and being like, this is not behavior that is acceptable within our fan base. We don't consider anybody that acts like this a fan of T1. Like, I think that if they took a stance like that, it would be a lot better. But it feels like, once again, people are afraid of their own fan bases. So the T1 stuff, I think, is obviously super fucking weird. It's like a regular season match as well. Mm-hmm. It's funeral wreaths over a regular season match. But in general, I feel like there is a lot of really like ill takes around just LCK right now and like casters. Like, I feel like when I listen to the LCK casters, I feel like they're the least offensive out of all the casters. You know, like they're kind of just having this like light banterous discussion over the game. It doesn't feel like they're too serious or they're married to any points. But just look at like what happened with Chronicler yesterday and his tweet about how, you know, the second that he called Guma the second best AD carry in the league and that he's playing with the best support in LCK. And just look at the response. It's actually mental. Look at the responses to Ox. Look at what the T1 fans, like I've always thought that Wolf was T1 biased, but the T1 fans thinks he hate T1.
Yep.
So it's so fucking strange to me because I'm like, wait, I thought this guy loved T1. From listening to him, I think he's like mega T1 biased. I mean, I was making fun of some of the stuff that Wolf was saying with like the like Faker realizes his mistake in Zanya's. Like Faker could literally ult into the whole enemy team as Ahri, press Zanya's in the middle of the enemy team, clearly misclicking. Like I think he was trying to proto belt or something at the time. I forget what item he had, but he was trying to use a different item. And Wolf had his back on moments like that. And somehow like the LCK casters just get completely shit on by this, like by the LCK community. And it seems, yeah, once again, overly sensitive, really awkward when I'm listening to the cast. And no way do I think the LCK cast hates T1. I think that T1 gets the most chair. If you consider the fact that T1 has not won an LCK in over 3 years now, the amount of like hype and the amount of you know, belief that casters have in the LCK in T1 to perform is more than they probably deserve. So watching, it feels very strange to see them getting shit on. It's like, well, no wonder these fucking people hate my guts, because if I say something like, yeah, Faker had like a bad summer, and they're getting shit on for saying this guy is the second best player in their position, oh my god, it's like I'm literally like fucking saying slurs or some shit.
Yeah, it's pretty tiring now at this point, but you know, just call them out. I think it's just to call them out and ridicule and move on. I think everyone
just do what Ox does and spend like days at a time just responding to every single person that has a horrible take.
Ox is a very, very, very ill man. He enjoys that. He enjoys it. He gets a kick out of it. And actually take it from me, Ox is technically like my casting father. Was it not for him, I wouldn't have even really got into the game. I know this man very, very intimately. Pause. But
okay. What type of father relationship do you... Okay, you know what? I'm not going to ask.
You know? Texas, huh?
Don't... Changes a man. Dom will tell you.
Well, I will tell you shit. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
He genuinely gets kicked out of it. I don't know how he does it though, because he actually does get a bit emotionally invested in it at the same time as also rage bait. It is one of the finest tightropes I've ever seen a man walk in terms of like engagement with fans. I couldn't do it, and I don't think a lot of us could, because again, the opinions, everything that you see out of like very, very delusional fans, just it drives you up the fucking wall if you really look and engage with it or attempt to engage with it properly for a long time. So yeah, I just wanted to give him a shout out just for being a fucking freak. Like Orcs, how he does it, I don't know.
He just logics them and they can't keep up generally. But yeah, I think that's, you know, we'll see how the fandom goes. But if you at home, you know, you see it, call it out, correct it, and then don't let that kind of narrative continue to spew. Speaking of fathering things, the developer who's working on anti-smurfing and making the gameplay experience better, Drew Levin, has been responding to many people on Twitter about upcoming changes to the game, and more specifically, smurfing detection. And this led to a lot of really weird conversations with our League of Legends player base, including some boosters, some account boosters and account levelers who provide boosting services as a full-time gig, and then are like, hey, you know, my livelihood kind of depends on this. I don't know why you're targeting us. What am I supposed to do? Just go to McDonald's? And he was like, yes, that's the purpose of what our job is. And then linked, I think, careers.mcdonalds.com to the guy. But it's been a refreshing change of pace and a new bit of fresh air here, as it feels like we're starting to target some people in some places in the game and some player bases in the game that are toxic, and knocking down toxicity there through smurfing and account selling and account sharing and boosting and duo boosting. And I just like it. It feels refreshing to see someone not on the comms team responding to people in a way that with authority here, Jamada.
I mean, I want to give a big shout out anyway, because he for a little bit more context, he's product and strategy. So like, kind of all of this stuff really does fall under like underneath his umbrella. It's kind of, you could just dub it the player experience. Like, he is the player experience guy, pretty much. And yeah, I can't remember the last time that we've had someone from the Riot side just answer with the level of candidness and sometimes bluntness that he has. Ever. I like, even when we had maybe Mark back in the day, and even then I weren't really on social media back then with when it came to League, so maybe like Dom or dGon could like answer more to that. But the rampage that Drew has been on for the last week or so has been nice, because again, I feel like oftentimes the Riot devs get a bad rap for a large variety of reasons, and I feel like forever we've really wanted a lot more open communication with the devs to just have real conversations about issues with the game, not just obviously at the pro level and like the high MMR skewed issue, but for the regular Joes too, because I didn't realize until very recently just how big the ratio difference is basically between the amount of people in gold and below and like plat, and pretty much like high diamond and up. Like, the part of the game that we focus on collectively makes up for like less than 0.0% of the entire player base. It's actually it's lower if you go and look at like the distribution of ranked players, etc., across the world. So getting this level of openness, getting this level of communication is nice. Also, very funnily enough, just on a more personal level, I reached out to him to get a comment about one of the videos I was making a couple of weeks ago, because I saw he started being active on Twitter then, and he's since and this was, I think, maybe July 23rd, right? We're recording 12th of August. He has more than doubled his tweet count from like 2,500 tweets to 7.5 or some bullshit. Like, this guy is living on Twitter. Honestly, if somehow this clip ends up in your vicinity, Drew, take a break soon, bro. Like, this is crazy pace. But again, it's awesome to see. I hope that he keeps up a slightly healthier cadence of doing this, because I don't think what he's doing right now is currently sustainable. He said it himself. It's not sustainable. But yeah, just going out of his way to try to listen to a lot of people's concerns about the game, whether it be high elo, low elo, somewhere in the middle, pro players, and just addressing them with very blunt and, I think more importantly, logical responses to whatever, problem is being put at his feet in these tweets. So yeah, I honestly just a massive amount of respect for kind of opening the floodgates a little bit, because it is a very, very, the League community, everyone knows the League community can be very, very, very toxic, very absent-minded with how they talk about basically any concept when it comes to do with the game. But he's tackling it head first. So I can only really commend him for doing it, and hopefully we keep this line of open communication going, because I think it's also healthy for the community to be able to, I don't want to say vent, because some people will definitely like only vent to him about their issues, but just bring to light problems with the game that he might go, oh, somehow we never thought of that, and then he brings it to the balance team, or he brings it to the client team, whatever it is, and we actually see real change and tangible change, hopefully for the better of that.
Have you seen any of these interactions, Dom?
No, because I've had this guy blocked apparently for years. So I don't know how I had this guy blocked, Drew Levin. I don't know what he must have tweeted something that I really didn't like. I have no clue what it was, but I've had this guy blocked for
You had him
a
blocked?
long period of time. Yeah, I have him blocked.
Huh.
He doesn't have me blocked.
The funny thing about the funny thing about that is that he's had this whole thing where he used to have a blue tick auto blocker. So a lot of people who are verified on Twitter or have Twitter Blue have basically had to ask people who aren't unblocked, i.e. dGon, are you still blocked?
Yeah, but I don't care.
dGon just
I
pointed
haven't
at
had
his
any
face. Okay.
interaction. Yeah.
Wait, why were you blocked? What?
Blue check.
Blue check mark. So
I don't get it. Like, so he just blocks everyone who has a blue check mark.
Yeah,
you can
That's
used to be able to, or you probably still can. You can get a like extension
What?
that blocks. Well, you have to remember there was a point where people would get a blue check mark and then they'll basically reply to everything to farm engagements to get money back from Twitter
it was
Blue.
the beginning of like Elon Twitter.
It was like right at the start. It was like right at the start when Elon took over Twitter and then started implementing all the changes that he made. So honestly, I kind of get it. Because yeah, it was a
Seems mental to me.
lightly frustrating part of Twitter. But yeah, that's why. So sorry, no. When you said you had it blocked the other way around, I was just a bit surprised.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no clue why I blocked him. But normally I just like block things. I must have thought that something he tweeted was dumb because normally that's what ends up happening is like I'll just block people when I see illness, you know? So I don't know what else I could have blocked him for. I don't think I've ever interacted with him. Maybe I have. So I know that he's just been tweeting a bunch of stuff, but I don't know actually anything about it. I saw like some of the tweets. Like I saw the McDonald's tweet through somebody else, but I don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, there's been a lot of complaining about the state of the game, I think, lately, and he's addressed a lot of the ones where there were bans generally. Like our boy Saligo is actually one of them who got banned unjustly. And it was brought up. Saligo and I got banned doing on his OG main in my Masters season 11 account. How did that happen? Is this a false positive? We were just trying to play with our old decayed accounts that are our own and not bought. And he said, updating here, thanks to our extremely hardworking anti-cheat team, these bans have been investigated and reverted. Appreciate all the folks who reached out. We'll dig into what we missed and make our detections even sharper in the future. And then because of these types of admissions to mistakes, you have all these people that are just straight outing themselves for like account sharing or using cheats. It's mainly just account sharing. It was like, I don't know if it was a false positive or not, but I got the same thing. Can you check it out? And he goes, okay. He replies to this random person. He's like, okay. Are you saying that you never cheated, never shared your account info, never had someone boost you? And he was like, well, technically I did play at my friend's house. Technically, I did share account info because I played at my friend's house, but it was only 2 games, if I remember, and it was the same player, so it really shouldn't matter. Like people are just outing themselves, like over and over again, like this little thing. Or we use this bug where if we typed in Latin, it would make the game crash. So why did I get banned? Like, it's just stupid stuff. And the player base is just coming out here. So anyways, this has been another one of the big things from this week recently, as it's just been nonstop drama week here. It's the dead of summer. People are getting bored and doing dumb stuff. And Drew is here to lay the law down towards some of them. So high key, low key, no key, Palafaker, caster criticism, Vladdy's fan clap back, T1 support gal sending Guma Rees, and Drew Levin just destroying some of the dummies of the player base. Go ahead and rank them. Dom, you go first.
I'll say so high key is like the most like ill.
Resonated with you the most. That is what I said. It could be. What did you feel the most?
Okay, so the one I care about the most is the T1 support gal thing because I think that is mega fucking weird. So that's the one that I'll say is my number one there. Are we doing it in order or am I just doing all three?
Just do it.
Okay. So I'll do high. That's my high key. My low key will be the Palafaker the Palafox ones because I feel like that's just like kind of strange to me. Care about it a little bit because I mean, also I'm sure he fucking hates me because I don't talk well about him on stream. I don't think he's good, right? So, I'm probably kind of. I feel like I'm like kind of in that situation where it's like, yeah, this is probably like pretty awkward for him to like go to my stream and just have me like shitting on him, and you know, it is what it is. So I'll put that low key, and then the no key will be Drew Levin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense just
Don't really
because
care
you
about
have
that stuff.
less access
Yeah.
to that. Jamada?
Yeah, it's just not stuff I normally care about either.
Yeah, well, on the contrary, I'm gonna high key Drew Levin. A lot of the stuff that I've been focusing on lately, with like both content and just kind of interacting more and more with people, is trying to understand the average player's mind, which it's scary. But Drew Levin, you know, going out of his way to effectively, you know, I'll just say he's doing it for me. I get to basically just watch all the interactions play out. It's been great, and again, I think that we, and I say we as in like the League community broadly, have needed another forward-facing person who's willing to kind of tackle questions. And I hope that a couple of other rioters, where it makes sense, also kind of take Drew's lead a little bit, maybe not to the same capacity, but when and where it makes sense. As long as it doesn't create this weird, and it's always a risk, this weird kind of parasocial relationship where you feel like you can just always go, I had this issue, I'm immediately going to go and like, you know, tag Drew or any of these other writers who maybe like end up doing it. I think it's fine. So I'm going to high key that because I think that it's a pretty big deal. Kind of for the broader of what it looks like for everybody. I'm going to low key Vladi's clapback. It's just one of those things to me where I would care more maybe if it actually led to Kameto for once taking a bit more of a hard line. Because to me, this felt like a very easy win of protecting your player. But this felt like, and to steal what Dom said, it really felt like a dog whistle of just, yeah, you guys can keep doing this. Like there's no problem with it really. Like this flame is all right. And I only really sympathize with Vladi, but I think it's also one of those things as a player you have to try and block out and ignore to the best of your ability. And I know it's definitely very difficult when you do live streams on Twitch. And of that note, my no key is Palafaker, Mr. Palafox. I just think the whole response is stupid, man. I think when you're a competitor, just fucking focus on yourself, man. Just focus on yourself. And if you care so much about the narrative that you'd be willing to make a comment on said narrative, I think actions speak louder than words in these situations. Always care enough to make a comment, care enough to play well enough that narrative doesn't even spawn in.
Boom. For me, I think I go. It's funny. I think all of our lists are different here. For me, it's the. Did you high key KC Vladi?
Low key.
Is that what you did? No, you high key Drew Levin. Okay, yeah, I high key KC Vladi's situation because of how Kameto responded to it, and we've already touched on that. I wish he would have supported Vladi a little more and condemned the specific actions that were there, acknowledged and condemned it, and more importantly than the T1 situation, I still feel like because there's a very clear leader and head there at KC, there's more of a potential to mold it. I know it's been around before LEC, but there just seems like there's more of an opportunity to mold and educate what is okay and what's not okay and hold them accountable compared to T1 where it's unregulated. There isn't too much at the leadership level who's having the conversation about it. And I think moving forward, ridiculing that type of behavior is the play, but that you know, I don't think there's a leader that's going to be able to do that. So it'll go high key KC, low key T1 Gal and Drew Levin. Just because the player base, it feels like something's being done. Like it was just a feel good win. On top of the fact that they are doing everything. I always feel like I defend Riot doing things, but they now we get to see it actually in motion. And then I no-key Palafox's criticism, just because Christian he has games where he looks great and he has games where he looks shit. And when that's the case, some people are half class full guys and some people are not. And it is what it is. So
I'd say the other thing is like there's also games where he looks shit and is shit, and it feels like he's kind of like pulled the wool over people's eyes to those games a bit here. He's like, no, sometimes when I'm playing bad, it's not me playing bad. It's just that the uneducated fan base doesn't know what should be going on. It's like
That's fair. I agree.
Is that really what's happening? Okay. No. Maybe I'm just too stupid to see these plays were terrible.
Well, I just go back to the series at 100 Thieves against 100 Thieves where man couldn't land an Annie ult to save his life, but on Yone had engages that we didn't see. And it was like, oh shit, that just won them the fight and that won the game. And now they're going. So it's that kind of dichotomy, and people don't want to spend the time to break it down each time. Like even I don't want to do that. It's just, are you good? Or are you not good? Are you good on this champ? Or are you not good on this champ? And he's erratic in his play sometimes, erratic in his plays results sometimes. So contextualizing that is difficult. And we'll see how the casters do moving forward, or if they continue to acknowledge it or not. All right, that was a long ass high key, low key, no key. We've got a couple more things to hit on before we call it a day. But before we do, it's time to remind you about our friends over at Factor. Now, between busy schedules and summer plans, sometimes all you got is a couple of minutes. That's why with more than 65 weekly meals made for how you can live and how you like to eat, you've got more ways to fit in a real meal whenever the day takes you there. Thanks to our friends over at Factor. They've got a wider selection of weekly meal options, including premium seafood choices like salmon and shrimp at no extra cost. Enjoy even more GLP-1 friendly meals and new Mediterranean diet options packed with protein and good for you fats, and from more choices to better nutrition. That's why 97% of customers say that Factor helped them live a healthier life. Feel the difference no matter what your routine is. Again, Dom has one of the most unique routines out of any human being that I know. And my man's looked good. You've seen the content that LoL Esports put out? He looked good. He looked like if him and Kadril got into a fight, I know who I would trust.
Hey, respect.
I think that's thanks to our friends over at Factor fueling him right. What has been your favorite meal lately?
If he cheated on Dom Drill, then I might have to take him out.
What's been your favorite meal so far lately here, Dom?
Lately, so the one that I talked about last time was the fillets.
Yeah,
they have like filet mignon. They have different types. The one that I had has like a peach cobbler on the side. It's like a filet mignon with like a polenta underneath it, and it has a peach cobbler on the side, like a small one, which is pretty good. So that's what I've been liking the most. My favorite one of all time, though, the one that I talk about a lot, is the mushroom and garlic chicken thighs, and it has wild rice in it, and that one's clutch. That one's like a very like hearty meal, and it's not that many calories, and it's like pretty filling. It's one of the more filling options, so that's one of my goated ones as well. But I mean, you can just explore like most of them are going to be good quality, so you just pick whatever you like on the website, and you'll probably be happy.
There you have it. Eat smart at factormeals.com/powerspike50 off and use the code powerspike50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code powerspike50 off at factormeals.com for 50% off plus free shipping. Get delicious, ready to eat meals delivered with your friends at Factor. Thanks to Factor for powering Power Spike. Go get your fitness and health goals knocked out with our friends over at Factor. All right. Let's move on to our next topic here. We got a keeper kick because we had one of the worst teams in the world, according to record, get themselves their first ever organization victory in a tier 1 match. That's right. It's disguised Toast's team. So we'd like to compare some terrible moments by the terrible teams, or some impressive moments by the terrible teams. It's keep or kick. Is it the DNF win, because they won for the second time this year over DRX, and the DNF loss to Bro combined together? Or is it an organization's first ever win by DSG? Are we keep or kicking DNF or DSG? Let's get into it. All right. So the Battle of the Ds. The DN Automotive Freaks here in the LCK. They are 2-22. They are the fourth team out of the 2025 League of Legends World Championship contention behind, who was it? OMG and Thundertalk? I forgot who the other team was.
RNG.
OMG and RNG. And who is it? Who am I missing? Oh, the Chiefs, my boys, the Chiefs over in Oceania, playing in the League of Legends Championship Pacific. They also are out after losing to Detonation Focus Me, Japan's Detonation Focus Me. So DNF have been bad, but they pulled off an upset to continue that win streak a little bit longer against DRX last week. And then 2 weeks ago, they had the 1,200 gold throw against my bros. 12,000 gold throw against my bros. It was a 20-something thousand gold swing by the end of the game. It was just painful. It was a painful thing. So they had the win and the loss, and the win was after that loss. So it's giving contextualization on how impressive that was. Or DSG getting the victory over Dignitas. First ever franchise victory. They are the second longest wait in LCS LTA North American League of Legends history, behind Echo Fox, who had to wait frickin' forever for Rick Fox to get his first win. So what is more impressive? The DN Automotive Freaks win and loss, or Disguised Toast getting their first victory? Jamada, let's start with you.
It's got to be DNF, surely. It can't, I think going that long without a win to then get a win. And to be fair, especially, I can't remember the first two games, admittedly, but the third game was very stompy. Like they had like almost a 10k gold lead by 25 minutes. That game was like over for a while. But can you remember the timer that they were 12k up? Because I think they had Baron, and they were like, it's an unlosable circumstance that they somehow made possible. And it's just whether it was Berserker getting caught by like the Cho'Gath knock-up, or Nico R that he shouldn't be getting hit by, or like random Yone flank from the side from closer. It was just off cooldown every fight. Somehow they found their way onto Berserker, or someone else was getting caught, right? Due to get just the fact that it was basically, they had like 5 chances, like 5 easy ball chances to close the game. And somehow back to back, they found the worst outcome in that scenario to fuck up that lead. That's impressive. I don't think I've seen that basically happen ever. Because, I feel like when you see big gold throws like that, it will be some stupid shit where it's, hey, the game is 35 minutes in, but, the other team's got a bunch of wave clear. Maybe, it's one pick that makes a Baron useless. So there's not a major gold swing where there's loads of opportunities to interact with the other team. But this was DNF actively marching to Bro's base and getting caught, or just executing like horribly on a team fight until they, was it Soul then Baron or Baron? I can't remember what the fuck they did into Elder. Like, it was bizarre. It was just so bizarre. And if you somehow missed the series, or specifically the game 2, go back to it and listen to the cast, because Atlas and Chronicler losing their mind on the call is, I think, some of the most entertaining commentary I've heard all year. You can tell they really wanted DNF to win. Like that, rooting for the underdogs is always fun anyway, but when you're covering a league and you see a team struggle the way that DNF struggles,
Yeah.
you want them to get a win somewhere along the road. Yeah. And the level of pain that they suffered in that span of it was quick too. It was like 10 minutes, right? It was ridiculous how fast that swing came around. It was nothing short of basically a miracle, man. But not the good kind of miracle, unless you're a bro fan.
I mean, even for me, biggest bro fan on the broadcast, it did not outweigh how terrible it felt for DNF. If you don't have time to watch the whole thing, our social media person was just ready to go. She was ready with the idea. She clipped how many times Chronicler and Atlas say no in the last 5 minutes. It's a 1 minute clip on LCK Twitter. It's probably the best one of the year. Just go watch it. It's so amazing. But then they won. They beat DRX earlier this year. After that, this week. So, DNF bouncing back here. Dom, do you remember that? Do you remember watching the catastrophe?
Yeah, I mean, I watched it afterwards because I was streaming because I normally skip DNF versus Bro if there's another LPL game on. Because I mean, mainly I just focus on the upper group of LCK.
Yeah.
And watching this game, it literally looked like it was borderline intentional. Like, you have to try to lose from that position. You actually have to actively try to lose from that position. And when I watch Bro, you know what's so strange about it? When you put it into context, Bro is the team that has the catastrophic throws themselves all the time. Like, they're one of the teams that kind of needs to win early game in order to have a chance, or they're just going to fucking get completely stomped. So I was like, man, they fucking did this somehow against one of the teams that is very fucking bad at coming back in games. So it was actually insane to watch this game. But to me, I'm more on the side of the disguised winning finally, because I just didn't think they would ever win. I thought they were never going to win one series the entire split. I thought they were just going to go winless in series the entire year, because at least from my perspective, scrimming and stuff, I actually do think that Dignitas is a better team. So I thought they were pretty big underdogs, and somehow they got it done. Somehow they're able to beat Dignitas. It feels like Dignitas is just that mental boomed at this point where they just can't play, or they're just that bad at the game. But yeah, I'm more on that side, but it was a very, very interesting run of it. I was very impressed.
Yeah. I ended up watching that series on Disguised Toast stream and just sat along with him, where he was just constantly saying, and I think this is just super fucking funny to have your owner saying this, what is our jungler doing? My boy XU, great kid. I'm glad he had his opportunity, but what the fuck, man? I know that he's been under a lot of fire for some of the engages that he had, some decisions, but my God, Lawrence XU could not just keep it together except one smite. I think there was one time where they ended up killing Shade and he had the smite ready, and then they stole Otacon away, I believe what it was. And it was a good old Dignitas objective throw. But that whole series in its own right was just crazy. They came back one game one. In game two, it's a little tight and the mistakes end up being too much. And then game three was just a back and forth affair. And even trying to close it on out, I think in game three, they had Otacon stolen away from them. And it was just, it was definitely a slog. So for those of you that haven't seen it, go check that one out. More impressive keeper kick here, Jamada, since Dom is keeping the DSG. The DSG one.
I guess I'm technically keeping the DNF one. I find that more impressive. I find finally getting a win awesome. You've lost. You guys kept on saying the stat. I think on the broadcast. I don't think they won a series since February or March. before first stand or something really ridiculous.
Yeah.
Into under just one of the most horrendous sequences of events to lead to a loss that I think I've seen in pro play probably this decade. Like that, maybe there was like one random one from like 2016 or 17 that like from EU, because EU back then used to have some pretty fucking hilarious ones too.
Yep.
But yeah, I always felt like DSG would at least get a singular win somewhere along the road. So maybe that's just like my expectation of DSG like, at least getting one series win kind of trumps the fact that yeah, just the bro series, man, that bro game 2. That's going to be something that we just remember. Like that is going in a history documentary at some point.
It's not just that for me. It's and this is again a product of being at the LCK week in and week out, brothers. It's the same DNF fan. The two gals that they showed, the one that was just deadpan and the other one that was doing the fanny fold of just like, I can't believe this is happening again. So to that visual of those two fans, when that bro game is happening, and I think that's why I'm about to cry, because I felt it so strongly. Like the visual of that outweighed the bro win. But then to see them be able to get to celebrate, the same fans were there. They're sitting on the opposite side because they were the home team this time. But they sit next to each other every time, and just the happy cheering and waving the thing. And this win kept DNF alive for later that week. They ended up losing, and then they ended up being eliminated, but to D plus Kia on Sunday. But it was just getting to see that joy finally rewarded for showing up to 21 fucking losses.
Jesus Christ.
Like, Berserker's the homie, Pyoshik's the homie, but it was those two fans that I'm like, oh my God, I love League of Legends. I love the LCK. And I just want them to feel good. I think it's the same thing as well, Jamada, where I just assumed that this team was going to get it together in disguise and get a win, knowing Dignitas exists and 100 Thieves is like plummeting, and it felt like Sniper couldn't figure it out, and it feels like Quad.
Oh no, Disguise is fucking bad. Like they are fucking bad. They're really bad. Like they're really bad. I think that they might be the worst team globally. Even though they beat Dignitas,
it's the Chiefs.
I would take the Chiefs over Disguise at a best of 5. I don't know, bro. Like I would take anyone. I've never even seen the Chiefs play, but whoever they have, like, I mean, hopefully they're the Chiefs of something. Like
Bio Panther. You remember good old Bio Panther, part of that Penta.
Honestly, they would probably Disguise would probably beat them. I was talking about like real because that's like the OC team. DNF would clap Disguise.
They're so bad.
They would. No, they're bad, but it's like it's different.
DNF are like top half of the league in the early game, and then just
DNF
find ways to lose.
They would 3-0 them. I'm pretty sure DNF would 3-0 Disguised, like pretty easily. I'm pretty confident in that. But yeah, man, like the thing is, I guess the thing that you have to think about with the DNF throw is that they scale well in that game too. They have like Senna Azir, and they're winning by 12k, and they lost. Like that's like kind of fucking crazy. It's like normally if you're playing like a scaling comp, like I can see a throw where you're playing like Renekton Nidalee, and you're playing these champions that do fall off at some point, and you play Renekton Nidalee, and the enemy team has the fucking Azir and Senna, and you throw one time, and then the game becomes hard. No. They had Senna, Azir, and they had a Sion. So they have like a tank that fucking like should be able to frontline pretty well in this game too. They found a way to lose, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Now that you bring that up, just additional context from the Toast Coast stream. Every time there was a fight, he'd be like, I don't know why they keep challenging him. Our 80 carries Korean. He's Korean. And then I was like, you've got fucking Castle and who he? Like, what the fuck? Like, who he's American now? He's American citizen now, but like, what the fuck is this, man?
He's mega American in the way that he plays the game. Like he is super American. Like this guy, it's very English.
There was a lot of American in LTA North this week.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually a decent amount of American in like the LPL lower group and the LTK lower group. Like I'm surprised by the fluency. Honestly, it's pretty impressive. So
Yeah.
Like you're telling, like I mean, I've heard Showmaker speak a bit. I know he's decently fluent. Dom one's speaking some English, that's for sure.
You know who's speaking English? I go back
Is it
to
Dom? Yeah, go on.
it's Quid. Quid is speaking a lot of
Oh,
English now. His lessons
Yeah.
are going super well.
Yep.
I just can't believe it. Like, yeah, I know that Sniper was the problem, but quote unquote, but I'm like, you had an MVP caliber mid laner. He's now like 6th, maybe behind Palafox. Like it was rough.
Did you guys
Jamada,
see
go
Loki
ahead and-
flame Palafox?
No.
I'm
Oh, was this during the banner ceremony, right?
Yeah, during the banner ceremony, did you see him flame him?
no, what he
I
said.
didn't see what he said. I just heard about it.
Palafox said that I like what? Who was 100 Thieves the worst team in the league? Something like that.
Yeah, he said that, and then he
Yeah,
almost
so-
lost to them. Yeah.
What did Quid say about Palafox?
No, Loki said he said he thinks that Shopify is getting a lot better than they were before, especially in like playoffs last split. But Palafox is not getting better than before, so that's why we chose Shopify. That's what he said. It's actually just so fucked up. Oh my god, my boy was flaming.
I will say,
Respectable.
like, that little bit is entertaining. I'm glad that they're doing the smack talk thing. I wish that LCK would
I
go
wish
back
that
to
somebody
that.
watched it. You know,
That too.
that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See how it worlds, man. All right, let's
Yeah.
move on to final topic of the day. It's our Galaxy Brain Club. We needed to spend some time out of America, but still in the West. Let's move on over to the LEC. Week 2 impressions. What did they play? How many games did they play? Did you tune in? All those questions and more answered now. It's Galaxy Brain Club. All right, the really awkward, confusing scheduling thing where not all the teams play every weekend and is here. It's LEC week 2.
Well,
The-
before that, we got to talk about the days. Like, who the
Yeah.
fuck made a schedule where you play Saturday, Sunday, Monday 1 week? Week 2 is just Saturday and Sunday. Week 3 is Saturday, Sunday, Monday again, which is also super fucking awkward. Like, who plays Saturday, Sunday, Monday instead of like Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Like, that just seems super fucking awkward. But then the last week is no games on Saturday or Sunday, and it's just Monday, Tuesday. Who the fuck made this schedule? Just like fucking just pick 3 days and tell Valorant to fuck off for a bit or whatever. Like, come on, man. It can't be this hard.
You were here first. Remember that, guys. You were here first.
Well, and also, isn't Valorant viewership just like kind of bad? Like, what is Valorant viewership? It's worse than League viewership, I thought.
I think it's worse in Europe. In America, I don't think it is. But I think in Europe,
I think it is. Wait, is it? Let me see. Where is it?
they
Valorant?
also have they're heavy co-streamer, so you'd have to like aggregate. I think.
Yeah. I mean, that's what all these sites do.
Esports charts, right?
I mean, it's hard to have less viewership than LCS. So to be fair, like, it's probably not there in LCS. But I mean, I think Valorant like viewership is not that high. When I was checking it, it was worse than like NA viewership. I remember.
All right, I'll find it. But yes, the scheduling definitely confusing, and I wish that it wouldn't be that way. But either way, 2 series in the books here. Jamada, what jumped out at you from this week of LEC?
Low hanging fruit, but it was nice to see G2 finally play and just dispatch it. Like, they should win versus Heretics anyway, but in this weird way, I'm not saying that I ever thought it was going to be like over the top compare or anything, but I think from the G2 perspective, this is now the time where all of those lesser, like air quotes, lesser teams, the lower teams, in the grander scheme of the LEC, you need to be dispatching with, and you need to be dealing with quickly, with like very little response. And it felt like the G2 Heretic series was pretty much all that. Like, the first game was pretty stompy, the second game was really stompy. They just looked better overall. I felt like they were making stronger decisions. Yeah, this just looked like a far better example of what I think a lot of people expect out of G2. I think especially Scumon game, the Pantheon game, was a lot stronger out of him. Like, yeah, I'm just happy that they showed up and didn't look like shit, right? 'Cause I think there's a lot of... I mean, look, I think after MSI and even a little bit of EWC, even though they looked better at EWC than they did MSI, there was a little bit of uneasiness, perhaps, from the European community, and especially with Fnatic picking up Poby, KC having a bunch of downtime, which I think in this case it has more a chance to work as a benefit when you consider how grindy the schedule has realistically been for G2. They got a little bit of a bye because they weren't playing in week 1. But to actually, again, just see them come in and look like G2. Like, I don't think anyone really had a bad day versus Heretics. Obviously an easy task, but an easy task that perhaps a G2 earlier on in the year, I think, would have made a bit more of a meal out of. So, weirdly, more so than any of the other series throughout the weekend, that was kind of the one that stuck out to me the most. Obviously, there was the marquee match of the week up as well with KC MKOI, but I think those games were a little bit... the weekend of LEC was a strange one. I'll see if Dom wants to tap into any of the other series.
Yeah, I mean, obviously KC Koi was strange. I wanted to ask, I don't know if you heard any of this, Jamada, but people were saying that Koi didn't start scrimming until like 4 days before this match. Why was that?
Really?
Why is it that MKOI took like weeks off after EWC?
I don't know. That's news to me. I wouldn't be able to tell you, especially considering they were also one of the teams that didn't play in week 1. So they have a strange one that you would leave scrimming to that late, all things considered. I never heard about it. Never heard about that.
They did go to EWC, so I mean, there was wear and tear, like all the teams that went, so they're not alone on it. But it was clearly wear and tear for teams to go fly out there, fight jet lag, then go perform, then get knocked down, and come back. They did win a series because I remember interviewing, I think it was Merwin, but that could be the only reason I can think of if you're not scrimming or you're doing a ton of content more than what other teams do because you need to make money. That's the only other thing I can think of, but that doesn't make a lot of sense. Go ahead, continue, Dom. Sorry.
It was just a really weird series from KC and Koi. Like, just the way that the games were played were extremely messy. And yeah, I was just expecting more from Koi, considering that they were the team that won LEC last split. So I don't know if they just weren't scrimming for some reason, and that's why they looked so off. But it just felt like they were just a weaker version of themselves. They looked like the winter version of Koi, where they're kind of showing up to objectives. They don't look like they have a defined plan. They haven't discussed how they want to approach things, and everyone's just kind of like doing their own thing in the game. So it was really strange to see MKOI lose that series, especially considering like the game 3, it felt like they were in a pretty good position. And then game 2 was obviously a pretty big throw from KC. So it was just very strange. I mean, there's some things I've noticed, like Yike just doesn't farm for some reason. His jungle, like he's just behind in CS a lot, which is probably why he thrives on tanks, but he's just not been farming as much as you need to. And we'll have to see like how this ends up going, because I mean, Koi barely beat Giant X. They beat Giant X because Giant X threw the fuck out of that game 3, right? Like that was a ridiculous throw from Giant X. It wasn't a DNF throw, but it was close. And so Koi could have been 0-2 easily this week. And yeah, I mean, their next matches are pretty easy. They play against Navi and Vitality, so they're not really going to get tested that much. But we'll see how they look going into playoffs. I don't know. I feel like this team is pretty sus right now.
I've got your stats here for you for Valorant and League viewership. So in Europe, it is very, very league skewed. The average viewership for LEC so far has been 204,000, whereas for EMEA for Valorant it has been 99,000.
Yeah, so I wonder why Valorant gets so much prio over LEC then.
In
It's
Americas,
go
I
ahead,
can't
finish that first.
look up the they only give you like 5 free page views, which is annoying.
Yeah.
So maybe you guys could look it up. But
I
the
looked
peak
it up.
viewership for America's Valorant is 295,000 viewers. The peak viewership for LTA North is 95,000. So almost 3 times more. So there it is.
That
2
makes
times
sense.
more for League for Europe, 3 times more for Valorant in Americas. So
I mean, it's one of those things as well where Americas for Valorant, I'm pretty sure they actually have it's actually the real Americas. So they have Brazilian teams and stuff. So, they'll get they'll get real viewership as opposed to NA where it's like the viewership is split into 2 different sides. Like I wonder what LTA South viewership is. LTA South
175 peak. So I think if you added them together,
like almost double the peak of NA. Cool.
Yeah, if you added them together, then you get very comparable to Valorant's peak. But I can't see what the average is. And obviously, there's been way less hours broadcast for League for LTA North because of the way the format works compared to Valorant. So, anyways, that's kind of just the viewership thing. One thing, going back to LEC, one thing that kind of popped up here in the Korean sphere was FM Korea and a lot of the news, the fan-made news outlets here, picked up some of the comms that were happening for the Ghost, Poby, and Fnatic. They were saying there was a clip where I think after one of the objective was taken, Poby then says to everyone, reset, reset, reset. Now I go here, you go there. And he says it in English. He's shot calling. Everyone's listening. There were moments where Upset was asking Poby what they should do. And one in itself, that's pretty awesome. Like, good for Poby. Pretty good for Fnatic to get direction like that. Knowing that Mickey's on the team, and Mickey has been known as one of these vocal leaders, these shot callers, but also hilariously from the Korean side of things. The Korean fans said something like, "Oh my God, no wonder it didn't work out with T1. ZOGK only have middle school, their middle school completed compared to Poby's high school English." So they couldn't understand what he was playing.
True.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm mildly concerned though. This is a lot of English for a month in Europe.
Yeah.
This is a lot of English for a month in Europe. You know what I mean? I'm very happy with Poby so far. When we obviously spoke about him a couple of days ago, he'd only played against IWDominate and Kameto, and it's just well, hey, let's get him against some stronger competition, then we kind of get some gauging on just how strong we feel like Poby actually is in terms of the scale of the LEC. But getting the mic check and the comms and hearing him actively lead the team is A, very impressive, but B, I think also just for Fnatic, I don't know what the comm structure looked like in game beforehand, but getting that little peek, it seems like they, at the very least, they fucking like that, right? Having Poby there. Upset has always been a pretty opinionated player, so being able to have him also be what should we be doing mid game? Because aim structures, they're kind of just a lot of time they're borderline micromanaged, right? The only time ADs will really speak up is if they need resources to get an item. Otherwise, they are more or less bots a lot of the time. But Upset is kind of one of the few kind of outliers to that general rule of thumb. So having him, having Poby, talk about things they want to do. Razork is historically a relatively vocal player as well. So it seems like now they actually do have a much grander sense of direction if that little look into the behind the curtains is anything to go by. But again, the English concerns me. I think we need to keep it to like League of Legends level, you know, just League of Legends level of communicating. Like you said, dGon, I go here, you go there, top look dive, you know, bot wave good, I take, shit like that. Sounds great to me. We start getting a little bit too fluent. That's where my worries start to get a bit, you know, a little bit more validated. I'm looking forward to next weekend because, you know, Fnatic and G2 are finally going to play each other. And I think that's where realistically is going to be tested the hardest. Especially again, if G2 series against Team Heretics is anything to go by, they look significantly cleaner compared to pre-international break. So yeah, I'm looking forward to finally getting Poby versus Caps to get a real gauge on just how he looks. Because again, Abadage, Kameto, not really like the greatest mids in the league, obviously. Nuke, I feel unfortunately has kind of just fallen off in the overall kind of pecking order. It's been about a year and a half really since I would consider him a top 3 mid. So Poby doing what he had to do in that series looked good, but now, you know, big dog Caps, that's where I'm looking forward to seeing how, you know, decision making, you know, from an outside perspective, not hearing the comms per se at first, is really going to be interesting on his overall trajectory in the league.
Big dog. Thoughts on Poby here after 2 weeks, Dom. I mean, we're on Poby watch now.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how he does versus Caps. That's it. We'll see how he does versus Caps. It's hard. I mean, because their group is so much easier than the other group, I guess, because there's really like, I mean, who knows if that's actually true? But Giant X is looking like they're actually okay. So it's like Giant X, KC, and Koi. Like, so Giant X can actually maybe do something, whereas the group with G2 and Fnatic, I think Heretics is decent. BDS has been disappointing all year. They had that horrible fucking series that they played versus SK before, and then obviously SK got the best as well. So we'll see how it ends up going there for their group. I just want to see if Fnatic can show something versus G2, because G2 it's hard to know because G2 like shit on Heretics, and then Heretics actually was able to take a game. It looked like they could have actually beat Fnatic when they played against each other. So I'm just waiting to see if Fnatic is able to do anything in this next series, because it feels like they're beating these other teams by not having to do much. Like they're very untested, I would say, so far in these games. They don't have to make ridiculous plays or be super active. They're just playing like standard league, decent side laning, and they're just getting advantages because the other teams just don't know how to play.
Yeah. All right. Final thoughts here on the LEC, Jamada.
The overall level looks. I
just say it.
Looking ahead to international, like, it's just not looking good. Just say what NA is better than EU. Good. Yes, that's been the case for the whole year. I don't think I've ever been. Look, my general stance has been. Okay, you fucking freak.
I just want you to say it. Keep on saying it.
My general stance has been the top 2 out of NA for this year, which has been you guys in C9 and FlyQuest, have been significantly better than our top 2 teams, whether that's been, you know, Koi G2. There was a brief period of time where, like, in spring it kind of looked like it would be Fnatic, and then also they crashed out in playoffs. That's been my stance. I think when you open up kind of towards the top 4, that's where I'm like, okay, maybe I would kind of lean more into Europe's like top 4. But even now with like the development of Shopify, and I'm not going to put stock into Leon really, but like they could be an okay team. Like they keep on getting better. Like they could be all right. I'm getting closer to a more neutral. Yeah, no, it just is the top half of NA is better than the top 4 of EU now.
I hope not.
I
hope not.
Me too, because I think that's an indicator of a lot of different things for everyone involved. So yeah, I hope the overall level gets better. I'm still, you know, we do a lot of, well, I say you guys do a lot of bitching about the formats. Obviously, it's a newer sport for me, right? And the bitching is valid, just in case I don't want any like mixed comms there. But I'm really not bought into the LEC format of this like whole group seeded thing. The other part as well is I do feel a little bit of a ways about them. Obviously, the split is like, I don't want to say short, but also it feels like it could ish be condensed. It's a weird format that we've got.
I mean, it's super weird. Just think about this.
Yeah,
LEC started 1 week after all the other leagues. So it started 1 week after all the other leagues.
Yep.
Then there's like a 1 week break before playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
No idea why. And then in the middle of playoffs, there's another 1 week break. Like there's a 1 week break
in the middle
after
of playoffs. I didn't know about the break in the middle of playoffs. That's fucking weird.
Yeah, there's a
wow,
break.
okay.
So you go from Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So you go from the 15th. So
I see.
Monday the 15th will be like the end of round 3. And then the finals weekend will be the 26th, 27th, and 28th. There's a 1 week break in the middle of playoffs. And there was a 1 week break before playoffs. And then there's also a fucking completely random break, in my opinion, before the start of it. So it's LEC is actually really short. Like it's 4 weeks of regular season, and then it's 3 weeks of playoffs, and that's it. It's a 7 week entire league. That's really strange to me.
I don't know all of the logistical reasons. But the choice is weird. The choice is weird. I'm not going to get into it. It's just, obviously you do want to kind of pace out a league however you want to, but it feels like with the 3 weeks, like maybe they're making accommodations for Valorant. I don't know what the situation is. Maybe I'll go and ask for them and get clarification. But it is, like I was saying, like the format, it feels like this first 3-4 weeks and then into playoffs, like a lot of hype is going to be sapped out of some of these series and some of these matchups as they happen because of the weird infrequency of breaks.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how that all shakes on out with the weird format and yeah. You know, this is the first time we are all doing 3 splits. It's not the first time LEC is doing 3 splits, but the first time we're all doing 3 splits as an esport. Hopefully we'll be able to get it together and a little bit more organized in the future. All right, y'all. That does it here for us. A lighter week because some of the matches were already played and kind of covered in last week's episode. We have a couple big more matches coming on up. A huge week for Hanwha Life Esports here in the LCK. You've got playoffs now kicking off over in LTA. You've got G2 Fnatic next week over in the LEC. Over in the LPL, it was a big week for one of the teams. Who was it? Shoot. I think it was IG. It was IG or EDG. EDG and Ninjas in Pajamas play for the Nirvana side of things because they're IG is undefeated. However, NIP have won every game except against IG in the Nirvana group.
Oh, you mean the EDG?
EDG. Yeah,
EDG.
I keep saying IG.
Yeah.
I keep saying IG. I meant EDG
okay.
over in the Nirvana group. And other than that, I don't know. Seems pretty standard here. Most of the last week in the LPL were the teams that were supposed to win mostly won. Not all.
Tomorrow,
mostly.
We do have AL versus BLG tomorrow. You know, we'll see.
It was more hype last split.
It was more hype last split. AL are definitely looking like they're on significantly shakier knees compared to basically anywhere in the entire year if you dropped a pin on a calendar. But we'll see if BLG with their Italian jungler, European
that was crazy.
That was we didn't really touch on that this episode, but that was also very, very insane.
I forgot that happened this week. I mean, it's the end of the episode, so if you made it this far, some crazy fans tried to out Shadow as Italian and not Chinese to create administrative problems with visas or whatever. That's next level hater. That's next level hater right there.
So I saw him
but
traveling on his Italian passport. That is so crazy. That was what the allegation was. It's so insane. And it was apparently fucking true. What can you do?
Yeah.
At least he's still allowed to play.
Yes.
That's the main thing.
Man, I can't believe that haterism. Also, I guess it is a big week for BLG. It's AL, Weibo, and then top esports. So do we get domestic top esports? Do we get international top esports against BLG? And then they play IG. Honestly, BLG play 4 times before we record our next episode. So BLG is going to be in the spotlight for next episode. Catch Dom's co-streams. Catch Jamada's educational content. You can catch me over on the LCK broadcast. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave some comments. Thank you to our sponsor Factor for today's episode, and we'll see you next week for more Power Spike. Bye-bye.